the youth, it's against the people. And let's try to find out from them what is your demand. Tell me. Okay,
Stay with it.
Morning.
Hi.
Spin bike.
It's changed my life.
Everybody's looking for that something.
Britain, what you buy is your business. Helping you pay less interest is ours.
You're flying without wings.
It has changed my life.
Barclaycard. Make money work for you.
I like making sure I've got all the right tools for the job. And now that I'm 50, that means looking after the life I've built, protecting my lot if anything happened to me. That's why I decided to learn more about over 50s life insurance from Cover Today. They're the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period, unlike other insurers who could make you wait up to 2 years for full cover. With Cover Today, you're fully covered from day one. And you're covered for the whole of your life. Plus, unlike other things in life, the price never goes up. Learning more couldn't be simpler. Go online or talk to their friendly UK team in just one phone call.
Cover Today are the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period and no annoying trips to the doctors either. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Cover Today has given me genuine peace of mind. And now that's done, I can get on with something much more interesting.
To find out more about Cover Today, call our friendly UK team on 0808 143 4733 or visit covertoday.co.uk.
Visit bingoaliens.com/bingo for a cosmic range of bingo games, taking bingo to another dimension at bingoaliens.com/bingo.
Landlords renting out a home, including the rent guarantee add-on to your residential landlord insurance means we'll pay if your tenant doesn't until they move out. So you can sleep easy. Search Direct Line Landlord Insurance today. Direct Line. That's how it's done.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Hello and welcome to this Tuesday edition of the World Report. I'm Arjun, Samar, Mahendran, and here's what's making headlines around the world. The situation remains tense in Kathmandu, with protesters trying to barge into the Nepali Congress Party office. The protesters have set a traffic post outside the party's office on fire. That's the latest we are getting for you. The agitation, meanwhile, comes at a day after the Nepal government revoked its ban on social media platforms in the country, or across the country, rather, after protests led by Gen Z or the youth opposing the ban and government's corruption resulted in the deaths of at least 19 people and left over 400 others injured. My colleague Aditya Raj Kaur gets you the latest from Ground Zero, Kathmandu.
Very angry opinion coming from the youth of Nepal saying that the social media was banned. That led to not just a crisis. small business owners and influencers, but daily life got impacted for people. And this was a draconian measure by the Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli. And apart from that, the corruption charges that have been leveled against him. If Prem can pan and show you, these are the, anti-riot gear, police of the Nepal police that has been deployed here all across the, the Parliament complex, across the neighboring area. And if we can move a little further, there's been massive stone pelting in this area. There are tires that have been burning, and hundreds and hundreds of protesters who have converged here who say that this violent protest will continue. The youth are rising here in Nepal for a regime change and perhaps want a transparent and a government that is for the people and not an elitist government that actually remains in their elite towers and palaces and in fact does not bring any transparency. So the protest here only continues. We are continuously bringing you live visuals from this protest area. This is the main area just meters away from the Nepal Parliament. Prem is showing you that exact complex next to the barricade is the Nepal Parliament, where in fact the army has been deployed. In fact, more forces and ambulances you can see that are coming in this area, even as the APF, the anti-riot gear police has been stationed here. Every passing minute, the amount of people that are coming here to protest is only increasing. So very, very, dramatic visuals coming on your screens of the deployment of the APF, but also people who are demanding justice, who are demanding action, who are saying that there needs to be accountability at the highest level. There has been joblessness, there has been, complete economic downturn, and the responsibility is with the Prime Minister of the country.
A massive political crisis is unfolding in Western Europe, in France to be particular. Prime Minister Francois Bayrou is set to resign, marking the collapse of President Emmanuel Macron's government yet again. Now, viewers, this is the fourth time President Macron lost in just 20 months, and the second government collapse in less than a year at that. Now, the turmoil raises serious questions about Macron's authority, his ability to govern with a fractured parliament, and also, more importantly, the very stability of France at a time of economic strain and far-right resurgence. Across the ocean in Washington, Democrats in the House Oversight Committee have released a sexually suggestive letter to Jeffrey Epstein, purportedly signed by none other than US President Donald Trump, which he has vehemently denied. Now, Trump has said that he did not write the letter or create the drawing of a curvaceous woman that surrounds this letter you see on your screens right now there. Now, Trump also filed a $10 billion lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal for a report on this alleged letter, which was included as part of a 2003 album compiled for alleged sex trafficker Epstein's birthday. Now, the letter released by the committee looks exactly as described by the Wall Street Journal in its report. The president, furthermore, has denied having anything at all to do with it. A federal appeals court on Monday upheld a civil jury's finding that President Donald Trump must pay $83.3 million to E. Jean Carroll for his repeated social media attacks against the longtime advised columnist after she accused him of sexual assault. The three-judge panel of the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals rejected Trump's appeal of the defamation award, finding that the jury's damages awards are fair and reasonable in the court's words. Now, Trump had argued, in fact, that the damages were unreasonably excessive and had also pushed for a new trial in light of the Supreme Court's expansion of presidential immunity. Authorities still won't reveal the exact cause of damage to the government building in Kyiv during a massive Russian strike on the Ukrainian capital city early on Saturday. An Associated Press crew was sent at the site on Monday and in fact saw what looked like projectile fragments. The State Emergency Service chief said that experts are conducting relevant investigations, removing relevant physical evidence, and will give relevant conclusions. Listen in.
Відповідні фахівці проводять відповідні дослідження, вилучають відповідні речові докази і дадуть відповідні висновки, що саме було причиною враження будівлі. А в котрі сталося? Сталося десь близько без 5-6. О 6 годині 3 хвилини почали надходити повідомлення про пожежу до підрозділів Державної служби надзвичайних ситуацій.
UN spokesperson Stephanie Dujarric on Monday told the press the Secretary General condemned the attack on a bus in Jerusalem. He highlighted the humanitarian situation, saying people are in dire need of food They are in dire need of water and they're, in course, in dire need of shelter items. Palestinian attackers opened fire at a bus stopped during the morning rush hour in Jerusalem on Monday, killing 6 people and wounding 12 others. Now, here's more.
The Secretary General strongly condemns the attacks by the Russian Federation on September 7th, which killed and injured several people, including children. The attack struck a government building in central Kyiv and damaged residential and other civilian infrastructure in the capital and other regions of Ukraine. The targeting of government institutions represents a further escalation in this conflict. Attacks against civilians and civilian infrastructure violate international humanitarian law. They are unacceptable and they must end immediately.
Meanwhile, we shift our focus to India, where External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar on Monday, speaking at the BRICS Summit 2025, in fact stressed the need for fair and transparent economic practices that in fact benefit all amid rising trade tensions sparked by Donald Trump's tariffs. Now, speaking at the virtual BRICS meeting, Jaishankar said the group should focus on building a more resilient supply chain, especially at a time when multiple disruptions are affecting international trade. Here's the External Affairs Minister for you.
The world today also seeks an urgent resolution of ongoing conflicts. A selective protection cannot be a global answer. An early end to the hostilities and undertaking diplomacy to ensure a durable solution is the obvious pathway before us. These experiences have only made the case for reformed multilateralism generally, and that of the United Nations and its Security Council specifically, more urgent. The BRICS have taken a positive view of this need for reform, and we expect that it would collectively become a strong voice for much awaited change.
Thailand Supreme Court said former Prime Minister Thaksin must serve a 1-year prison term for previous convictions on graft and abuse of power charges. Now, this comes after investigating whether officials had indeed mishandled his return to Thailand back in 2023, that's 2 years ago, to begin serving the sentences. A judge also added that the enforcement of Thaksin's penalty was not done properly, and therefore his detention in a police hospital did not count as serving prison time. Now, following his return to Thailand after more than a decade of living in self-exile, Thaksin was sent to a suite at Bangkok's Police General Hospital, reportedly for medical reasons, after spending less than a day inside prison. Over in Latin America, supporters of Brazil's former President Jair Bolsonaro gathered on Monday in a prayer vigil ahead of his trial next to the condominium, the very condominium where he's under house arrest currently. Now, clutching Bibles and Brazilian flags, as you see there on your screens, demonstrators sang hymns, prayed and called for divine intervention, claiming the country's highest court is acting with political bias, a claim that actually was reverberated by US President Donald Trump. Meanwhile, a panel of Supreme Court justices is set to decide this week itself whether Bolsonaro is guilty or not of planning to overthrow Brazil's democracy and hang on to power illegally after his 2022 electoral defeat. Meanwhile, AP's Maurizio gets you this report.
So this is Monday night in Brasilia. We're really close to the home of former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro. Some people are honking at this sign behind me because they want him to run in next year's presidential election and go back to office, despite the fact that for now, he's ineligible. He is going to be standing trial for 5 different counts in an alleged coup trial. But still, his supporters are here. They are praising his policies, his conservative policies. They are praying for him and hope that he returns. Of course, that's going to be a very tall order, according to many experts who believe he's going to be convicted in this trial. Even some people here, they do believe that he's going to be convicted too, but they hope that Brazil's Congress is going to give him some kind of amnesty, and that will allow him either to stay at the house arrest that he's currently in, or just be freed from all the accusations he has received so far.
We shift our focus to Southeast Asia, where Shanghai Wild Animal Park has announced that its giant panda Qinjin successfully gave birth to 2 cubs, 1 male and 1 female, on the 22nd of August. Now, this marks the first birth of a second-generation giant panda in the city. Now, according to the park, the female cub was in fact born at 4:11 p.m. local time, weighing in at 200 grams, followed by the male cub at 5:17 p.m., weighing in at 160 grams. Now, as of Thursday, the female cub had reached 499, almost 500 grams, while the male cub weighed in at 395 grams. Both cubs have shown remarkable growth, steadily gaining weight and developing distinct physical characteristics. Now, most notably, the classic black markings around their eyes and ears have become increasingly visible. Listen in.
大熊猫千金今年呢已经满8岁了，那么正处于这个最好的年华啊。那么今年呢也是它首次生产。虽然我们大熊猫千金是首次生产，但是在我们的龙凤胎宝宝出生以后呢，我们大熊猫千金表现出了极强的这个天然母性，那么非常细心的，并非常好的照顾着我们的熊猫宝宝。目前呢，我们一个宝宝呢是由千金亲自来哺育，另外一个宝宝呢是我们人工育幼的。那么并且呢会定期进行一个换崽，两个崽崽进行交换嘛，让我们的妈妈可以熟悉我们2个宝宝的成长，也让我们的宝宝可以熟悉妈妈的怀抱感受到妈妈的爱。所以呢，对我们大熊猫妈妈跟宝宝都是一个身心健康成长的一个必要的环节。
And with that, it's time we step into a short break. Much more lined up on the other side.
Sometimes it's the little things that remind us of them. Stay close, even when you're far apart. Send money worldwide with Remitly.
No child should suffer the torture of trachoma. But so many are in pain right now. Nananga's lashes have turned inwards. They rip and tear away at his eyes. Pomelo's sight could be gone forever. He's just 3 years old. Kofanga screams for his mother. His eyes are so infected that he can't even see her. For so many children in the world's poorest countries, trachoma is torture. It's a painful infection often spread by flies, and it's destroying children's eyesight. But it could be stopped if you help today. By calling 0800 021 3925 and giving £2 a month to Sightsavers, you can help make sure children get the treatment they desperately need. You'll help us bring them the medicines and the care that can treat infections. And that means you'll be helping to save children from the torture of trachoma and a life of blindness. Please help us reach them. Call 0800 021 3925, text C7 to 82727, or go online and give just £2 a month now. Because we need you to help save the sight of children like Nananga. We need you to help save them from the torture of trachoma.
Discover the finest quality made-to-measure window dressings, exclusively online, delivered direct to your door. Shop now for an extra 20% off and free delivery at blindsdirect.co.uk.
Whatever you need to ask about cancer, Macmillan's free support line is just a call away.
Hello, Macmillan.
Whether it's money...
Am I going to lose my job?
Getting on with life.
Can I still go abroad? Get insurance?
Or just need someone to listen.
How do I tell them?
Our specialist advisors are here to help as often as you need them. Whatever you need to ask, cancer, money, life, call us now on 0808 134 1000.
Ladies and gentlemen, Britain hasn't been so great of late because the country hasn't been eating enough Weetabix.
Makes sense. I've been eating croissants.
To whoever's in charge of fixing potholes, VAR, and drivers who park like this, we must say, have you had your Weetabix?
Welcome back. You're watching the Tuesday edition of the World Report. Now we shift our gaze to the world of business, where Japan's Nikkei share average climbed past the key 44,000 mark for the first time on Tuesday. Now, this comes as optimism over trade and potential increases in stimulus spending uplifted sentiment. The Nikkei 225 index surged as much as 1.24% to an unprecedented 44,185 in early trading, just before paring gains to enter the midday trading recess, up 0.2% at 43,732. This as the steepness of the rally spurred some profit-taking. Intel has announced a series of top executive changes on Monday, including the departure of Products Chief Michelle Johnston at a time when CEO Lip Bhutan intensifies efforts to turn around the struggling U.S. chipmaker. Now, Holturas, who will leave, in fact, after more than 3 decades with Intel, had held numerous senior leadership roles. This also includes the interim co-chief executive officer following the ouster of former CEO Pat Gelsinger just last year. Now, she will remain a strategic advisor over the coming months. Australia's ANZ Group's new CEO, Nuno Matos, warned of more ugly changes to come at the Australian lender after the announcement of 3,500 job cuts on Tuesday. But he said the decision would safeguard its future growth. The bank said it would take a $369 million restructuring charge following one of the largest rounds of job cuts in the sector in recent history. The 39th Mount Thai International Climbing Competition 2025 and the 30th National Fitness Mount Thai hiking activity kicked off on Monday in Tian, East China's Shandong province, as part of the 39th Mount Thai International Climbing Festival. 3,000 professional athletes from around the world, along with 8,000 sports enthusiasts, gather at the foot of Mount Thai to compete. The competition, for perspective, is divided into 3 groups: youth, middle-aged and elderly, with 2 sub-items for each group, male and female, and the participating age range is between 18 and 65 years old. Viewers, the battle for Asia begins today. Afghanistan take on Hong Kong in the tournament opener. India, meanwhile, are the official hosts of the 8-team tournament, but due to strained political relations with Pakistan, the matches are now being played on a neutral territory. The next 3 weeks will provide, in fact, the stage for politics, passion, and new rivalries. In the world of entertainment, Leonardo DiCaprio and the cast of One Battle After Another gathered in Hollywood on Monday for the premiere of Paul Thomas Anderson's politically charged action thriller. Now, DiCaprio leads the cast as Bob Ferguson, a washed-up former revolutionary looking to connect with his daughter, and says that the story's power lies in its complexity. Here's what DiCaprio said.
So you don't accidentally detonate your
Yeah,
charge.
I mean, yeah, it's more about our conviction in what we believe so firmly, and that, you know, most people ultimately feel like they're doing the right thing, you know, and when you see the movie, you'll see these complex characters that are live on such polar opposite spheres, but ultimately think that their choice is the right one. And I love the fact that Paul explored this. Has been, you know, it's certainly a theme that's come up in our society a lot, and I don't know, I really love the way you handle it, because you can't, it's not a film that you can preach about. You have to just, you know, show people, you know, ultimately where we're at in today's society. So I hope people respond to it anyway.
Now, in the UK, a new mural by elusive street artist known as Banksy, showing a judge beating up unarmed protester with a gavel, will be removed from a wall outside one of London's most iconic courts, authorities have underlined. Now, the mural appeared Monday and depicts a protester lying on the ground holding a blood-splattered placard, while a judge in a traditional wig and black gown beats him with a gavel. Banksy posted a photo of the work on Instagram, his usual method of claiming work as authentic. It was captured Royal Courts of Justice, London. Cheers, Mark.
Very strong, and it's obviously to do with Gaza, and it's kind of say that the government are making a big mistake, arresting all these people just to carry the signs with Palestine action on. And he's trying to make a point of the ridiculousness of it.
And the uber cool and prestigious MTV Video Music Awards took place in New York only last night. They were celebrating the best of pop music videos this year. Pop stars Sabrina Carpenter, Ariana Grande and many more bring their most fabulous selves to the stage. My colleague Mayank, meanwhile, has all the details you need to know.
Remember Princess of Pop Britney Spears dancing with a yellow snake? Or Lady Gaga shocking everyone in her infamous meat dress? The annual MTV Video Music Awards are a cultural reset. It not only honors the bold and the beautiful videos from pop music, but has an image to be the most provocative award show of the year.
And the VMA goes to Lady Gaga.
The 2025 VMAs took place in New York City, with pop music's biggest names showing up for the night. The always out-of-the-box Lady Gaga took home 4 Moon Persons, including Artist of the Year. Rocking a voluminous black Marc Jacobs look and gave a thrilling performance of her hits, Abracadabra and Dance of the Dead. Latest song from the hit Netflix show Wednesday.
Sabrina Light, make you
The
smile,
espresso singer Sabrina Carpenter won 3 awards, including Album of the Year. Ariana Grande also won big, with 3 awards including Video of the Year.
First and foremost to my fans, I love you with every fiber of my being.
Rose and Bruno Mars, APT.
K-pop star Rosé won for the Song of the Year and gave a shout-out to her 16-year-old self, saying she would be very proud.
I'd like to thank myself for not giving up.
The ultimate pop diva Mariah Carey won the prestigious Michael Jackson Vanguard Award
VMA tonight.
and gave a medley of her chart rulers. In a classic MC style, she casually wore a necklace worth $10 million. The night also paid tribute to the late King of Darkness Ozzy Osbourne, with a performance by Aerosmith, Youngblood and Nuno Bettencourt. Overall, the MTV VMAs lived up to its reputation for being cool, kooky and creatively entertaining. Mayank Chaudhary for NDTV.
Well, that's all the updates we have for you this Tuesday on The World Report. Take care and have a lovely day.
Popping to the shops isn't as easy as it used to be. Ages. That's why I love Wiltshire Farm Foods meals. They're delivered straight to my door for free, and there's no silly subscriptions, which means I get all the flavour, with none of the faff, so I can put my feet up. Well, occasionally. Why not give them a call or go online? Wiltshire Farm Foods, that home-cooked taste, delivered.
Since I retired, I've finally got time for the important stuff, like helping my family manage financially if anything happens to me. Which reminds me.
Welcome to British Seniors, the UK's #1 rated provider of over 50s life insurance.
Hi, I'd like a quick quote, please.
We're proud to offer our seniors lifetime guarantee. With 100% of claims having been paid, we guarantee your premiums will never go up and that you'll speak to one of our specialists in the UK. UK residents aged 50 to 80 are guaranteed to be accepted. Depending on your age, your loved ones can get a cash payout up to £10,000.
And that money could help with my funeral costs, or as a gift for my granddaughter. I'll do it.
Plus, when you sign up, you'll receive a £135 gift card and free 24/7 GP advice and health services.
Be proud to protect your loved ones with British Seniors. To get a free quote today, call our UK team on 0800 977 6843 or visit britishseniors.co.uk.
Vista Health means fast access to scans. Vista Health means rapid results. Vista Health means convenient locations. Vista Health means affordable pricing. At Vista Health, we know what your health means to you. And that's why we provide fast access to MRI, ultrasound, echocardiogram and other health scans, without the need for a referral or medical insurance. Get the answers you need. Book your scan today at vistahealth.co.uk.
Our first year as a family flew by. And now, I want to make sure he'll be financially protected for all his birthdays to come. That's why I'm calling Smart Insurance.
Hi, how can I help?
Hi, I'd like a quick quote for family life insurance.
OK, you can choose a benefit amount up to £750,000 depending on your age.
That's great.
If you're a UK resident aged 18 to 64, you can apply with just a few health and lifestyle questions. For £250,000 of cover, the price starts at just £14.77 a month.
That's less than I thought. And could help my wife pay off the mortgage.
And with our Smart Family Guarantee, you'll have peace of mind.
That's good to know.
You'll also receive a 100% advance in the event of terminal illness and 10% cashback on your first year's premiums. That's the Smart Cashback. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Protect the life you've built the smart way. To get a free quote today, call our specialist UK team on 0808 141 5855 or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
When facts are fragmented, we put the pieces together. Where power collides with truth, we are there.
Behind me is that massive security arrangements that are in place.
Behind fractured boundaries, we clear the fog of war. Fault lines with Gauri Dwivedi, only on NDTV World.
Thanks for staying with NDTV. This is India Global with me, Arjun, Samar, Mahendran, and here are the headlines. Nepal youth protests resume after government lifts social media ban. Chorus grows for PM Oli's resignation. US proposes 25% tax on companies for hiring foreign workers. We tell you all you need to know about Washington's Hire Act. Trump's motor-mouth tariff advisor Peter Navarro's latest anti-India rant says it won't end well for India amid tariff row. World's biggest democracy to get new vice president today. It's NDA's CP Radhakrishnan versus India Alliance B. Sudarshan Reddy. Voting currently underway. US lawmakers release Epstein's birthday book with alleged notes from US President Donald Trump and former President Bill Clinton. And hours to go for the Asia Cup 2025 as Team India begin as favourites to lift cricket trophy. A top focus this Tuesday on India Global Viewers. Protests in Nepal are far from over. Even after the government reversed its controversial social media ban, streets in Kathmandu and major cities, in fact, across the country remain tense today, with fresh clashes being reported across multiple cities, and some even from just outside the country's parliament, homes of many central ministers in the KP Oli Sharma government. Now, what began as peaceful protests led by Gen Z students has now spiraled into total and utter violent confrontations across the Himalayan country. Stone pelting, tear gas and curfews dominate the scene, as we've been seeing, and also as the visuals show on your screens right now. This as public anger only continues to boil over and simmer against the incumbent KP Sharma Oli government, with calls growing, in fact, for the resignation of the Prime Minister himself. Now, this comes right at the back of multiple ministers resigning from the KP Sharma Oli government. It started with Nepal's Home Minister, then the Agriculture Minister. We also had the Health Minister resign this morning. Now, despite the internet ban being lifted late last night, protesters are still demanding accountability. They are blaming the government for corruption and poor governance across the board. At least 19 people, meanwhile, have lost their lives and over 300 are injured in the unrest so far. Meanwhile, in a late-night address at PM, KP Sharma Oli expressed condolences to the families of the deceased and has denied any intention of permanently shutting down social media platform. This is not it. The PM has also, in fact, summoned an all-party meeting in a while from now. Meanwhile, India has also urged its citizens in Nepal, across Nepal, to stay alert as curfews still remain in place. Now, tensions still high and all eyes are on how the government will respond next and how the protesters will respond to the government cracking down on them. Meanwhile, my colleague Aditya Raj Kaur gets you the latest from just outside the parliament in capital Kathmandu.
Very angry opinion coming from the youth of Nepal, saying that the social media was banned. That led to not just a crisis, small business owners and influencers, but daily life got impacted for people. And this was a draconian measure by the Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli. And apart from that, the corruption charges that have been leveled against him. If Prem can pan and show you, these are the anti-riot gear, police of the Nepal police that has been deployed here all across the the parliament complex, across the neighboring area. And if we can move a little further, there's been massive stone pelting in this area. There are tires that have been burning, and hundreds and hundreds of protesters who have converged here, who say that this violent protest will continue. The youth are rising here in Nepal for a regime change and perhaps want a transparent and a government that is for the people and not an elitist government that actually remains in their elite towers and palaces and in fact does not bring any transparency. So the protest here only continues. We are continuously bringing you live visuals from this protest area. This is the main area just meters away from the Nepal Parliament. Prem is showing you that exact complex next to the barricade is the Nepal Parliament, where in fact the army has been deployed. In fact, more forces and ambulances you can see that are coming in this area, even as the APF, the anti-riot gear police has been stationed here. Every passing minute, the amount of people that are coming here to protest is only increasing. So very, very, dramatic visuals coming on your screens of the deployment of the APF, but also people who are demanding justice, who are demanding action, who are saying that there needs to be accountability at the highest level. There has been joblessness, there has been, complete economic downturn, and the responsibility is with the Prime Minister of the country.
Well, dramatic scenes there in Nepal's capital, Kathmandu, where, of course, NDTV's senior executive editor, Aditya Raj Kaur, keeps on getting us the latest. Meanwhile, we shift our focus westwards, where the US is now turning up the heat on outsourcing. That's correct. A new bill called the Hire Act proposes a 25% tax on payments to foreign workers, aiming to push American companies to keep jobs at home. At least that's the claim that we are getting. Now, if passed, this could directly impact India's $250 billion IT industry, which earns over half of its revenue from US clients. Major players, moreover, like TCS, Infosys and Wipro, could see rising costs and shrinking contracts. While the US hopes to boost local jobs, Indian tech leaders warn this move may just hurt innovation and global competitiveness. My colleague Vishal Vivek joins me for more on this. Vishal, what is this proposed Hire Act all about? and what are its likely implications going to be?
Well, as you rightly mentioned, Arjun, this is still in a proposal stage. It will have to go through a series of proposals to get it to the final stage and be implemented. We are far from that stage, but still it has sent shivers down the spine of many US firms that hire outsource workers from the US to the Indian territory. So what this bill will do is it will make outsourcing more expensive. And why is that? Because any firm that is willing to hire workers from outside the US territory will have to pay 25% tax. So that will be quite heavy on their financial strain, and also IT companies will be directly affected because Indian IT companies are known to be in contact with the US firms for these outsourcing duties. So IT firms in India will be most definitely affected, and this will completely stop the complete stoppage of outsourcing will be quite difficult. This is what experts have been suggesting, analysts have been suggesting, that even though this act will be implemented soon, but the fact that completely stopping outsourcing will be quite difficult. Why is that? Because scale of Indian talent can't be matched by US workforce. So the majority of these high-skilled workers belong to the Asian continent, particularly to India and China. So to just replace them overnight won't be practical. So that scale of talent won't be available as far as the domestic US crowd is concerned. So the implementation of this act will be quite difficult. And lastly, US firms will find it hard to manage large-scale operations because a lot of these big tech companies such as Meta, such as Google, Microsoft, they all depend on these outsourced Indian workers who contribute a lot to their revenue, to their workforce. So to just remove such a big chunk of their workforce will be quite detrimental to their overall progress, and hence the application of this act would be quite difficult. So this is what we have so far, but we'll have to see how this will play out in the longer run, because we are still in the proposal stage, as you rightly mentioned.
Well, thank you so much for getting us the latest there, Vishal, and putting these developments into perspectives. Further, we are also joined by Jayant and Kola. He's a partner at Convergence Catalyst. Thank you so much for taking out the time and speaking with us this Tuesday afternoon, Mr. Kola. Now, how practical, let me ask you off the bat, how very practical is it for US companies to altogether completely stop outsourcing to India?
In the short to medium term, it's not practical at all. Just like your colleague Vivek was mentioning, they cannot do this overnight because for more than a generation, the US companies have been dependent on various IT outsourcing destinations, primarily of that India, right? And what they find is not just the talented Indian workforce, but we Indians are great at our communication skills as well, mind you. I mean, 150 of us speak English extremely well, right? So, and it's apart from the cost component. So in the short to medium term, it will be difficult for the US companies to completely, stop outsourcing to India. What this bill will ensure is it will make things costlier, because what we've observed with the manufacturing tariff, that came in the apparel sector, what we are seeing is the US companies, the US brands, the US buyers are asking their manufacturing vendors in India to absorb the tariff, while at the same time increasing the cost for the retail consumer there, right? So this tax bill, might also actually in practice, in the short to medium term, lead to that. It might make the services in US costlier for the end consumer.
Now, we spoke about the impact on the US. What impact will this have on India? We've got IT industry giants warning of a detrimental impact to the Indian industry as well. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, out of the $250 billion, our exports are 80% of it. $200 billion is our software exports business, and a huge chunk of that to the US market. If this bill goes through, there will be a detrimental effect for the Indian companies, Indian IT services companies, definitely, because that tax might be passed on directly for the Indian IT companies to absorb a huge chunk of it. If we are seeing the same parallels to draw out how we've seen in the manufacturing and the apparel industry to draw parallel from, right? And we do not know if it will be, only for the, different companies like IT outsourcing companies, Infosys, TCS, it will be affected, or the GCCs as well, the global capability centers, wherein the global companies are setting up their own outsourcing centers here in India. Will they be affected or not? But in the short to medium term, there is definitely going to be an impact on the Indian companies from their bottom line point of view. Okay, from their bottom line, definitely. And Indian companies need to look for different countries, different markets, including the domestic market, to focus their revenue generation and divert their revenue generation on.
Right. What about the long run? How will this, may I say, affect or rather hurt US innovation and even competitiveness in the long run? Short run, we just heard from you. What about the long run?
In the long run, this is another spoke in the multipolarity world wheel, right? I think all the countries are gearing up for that. I mean, we've seen when when we've been hit by tariff, our leaders attended the SEO summit and tried to expand our GDP and businesses there. So in the long run, there is going to be an impact. At the end of the day, this is another spoke in the multipolarity world that we seem to be that seems to be evolving on all fronts. I mean, geopolitically, economically, socially, on all fronts. And it will also probably see a lot of brain drain from India, a lot of migration, from India for people to US, because it will be very difficult for US to come up with a workforce in less than a generation to offset this. So they will be dependent on the migrant workforce, wherein we will see that a lot of Indian workforce might be migration. So there'll be a lot of migratory impact as well in the long term.
So it'll take Washington around a generation to come up with such workers, opines Mr. Kola. Mr. Kola, my last question to you, we're running out of time here. How should the Indian IT firms or the IT sector, strategically respond if this higher act, in fact, does end up becoming a law, as we've seen all kinds of laws under this Trump 2.0 administration?
In the short term, be prepared to absorb some of these bottom line impact, while at the same time frantically working for looking at other markets, including the domestic market, to move their revenue generation to. In the short to medium term, that's the strategy that they need to adopt, which I think is going to be the reality one way or the other.
Well, thank you so much for taking out the time and joining us here on India
Arjun.
Global, Mr. Kola. Now we shift our gaze eastwards, viewer, where the Kremlin has in fact fired back after President Donald Trump threatened new sanctions over Russia's latest deadly assault on Ukraine. A Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov has said no sanction will ever force Russia to change course, insisting and underlining rather that Moscow will not back down from what it calls its special military operation in Ukraine. Now, the strong response follows Trump's warning of a second stage of sanctions after Russia launched its largest attack of the war yet, striking Kyiv's main government building for the first time. More than 800 drones and 13 missiles slammed into cities across Ukraine, killing at least four people, including a 3-month-old baby. Meanwhile, Ukraine's President Zelensky has called the attack a war crime, and in fact, he is urging the US for a stronger response. Meanwhile, Trump says he'll speak to Putin soon, as European leaders head to Washington this week to discuss the next steps. Meanwhile, for our viewers who are just joining in, the Kremlin has fired back, or rather thrown down the gauntlet, after President Donald Trump threatened new sanctions over Russia's latest deadly assault on Ukraine. Now, this reply comes just a couple of days after, in fact, US President Donald Trump warned of to impose secondary sanctions against Moscow. Spokesperson Dmitry Peskov has said, and I'm quoting here, no sanctions will ever force Russia to change its course. He's also insisted, and not only said this, but also underlined that Moscow will not back down from what it calls its special military operation. Now, it's very important to note that Trump's latest warning comes after the total breakdown of the much-touted Alaska summit, where he met President Putin, his Russian counterpart, for the first time since the beginning of the war. Meanwhile, my colleague Gauri Dwivedi joins us for the latest on this. Gauri, a straight message coming out of Moscow, almost throwing down the gauntlet to Donald Trump this time, and also at the back of Russia's biggest aerial attack across Ukrainian cities. What's the latest you're picking up?
See, Arjun,